Hi there, this is Benjatschek. Supervising Friends. That's the topic for today, and I want to talk to you about that particular topic. So many people come into my workshops and they say, "What's the plan, Dave? I just got promoted to manager, and you know what? When I wasn't manager, I really was their coach anyways without a business card. They came to me for answers, I coached them, they would confide in me, and now, just this silly title. Nothing has changed in my view, but it seems like everything has changed." If supervising friends and previous coworkers is a dilemma that you're currently facing, I want to encourage you with one key part. I think should be the initial part of any plan that you have for managing people that you used to work with or people that are your friends. And that key point is never, ever, ever be a judge. If you remember back to the Salt Lake City Olympics, Winter Olympics in Utah, there was that famous incident involving the French judge in the ice dance competition. And they robbed our Canadians, Pelletier and Salé, from their gold medal as she marked them at 5.2 for their artistic mark, where all other judges were giving them 5.7s, 5.8s, 5.9s, higher marks. And the world was aghast. And here's the point. When we looked at ice dance, it's a great sort of model for judging whether you are a judge in your role or not. There were two marks in the ice dance. Number one was the technical mark. And the technical mark said if you did this, you got 3 points. If you did this twizzle, you got 5 points. If you had this blade movement, you got 6 points. And at the end of the day, there was no discussion around the technical mark, because if you wanted to prove it, if you had any disagreement, if you had any doubt, you could replay the video and you can go here 3, here 6, here 7, and it was no big deal. But then there was, and here was the key element, the artistic mark to the ice dance competition. And it's changed a lot since then because of that incident, and I want you to learn from it as well. Back then in the Salt Lake City Olympics, the artistic mark was the judge's general impression of the artistry of that performance. What does that mean? And that question, what does that mean, is a dangerous question for your people to be asking about directions that you give them. Donna, I need you to be a good team player this year. What does that mean? Kevin, I need you to act in a more appreciative fashion. What does that mean? Ron, I need you to pick up your game. What does that mean? At the end of the year, when you go to measure those things, you become a judge in a court of law. You become potentially the French judge, because in any court of law there are two sides. There's the defendant and there is the plaintiff, and no matter how you rule, half the courtroom's going to love you and half the courtroom's going to hate you. And that's exactly when we're managing friends what we're afraid of. To not be a judge, the one key part of any plan should be to establish goals that are specific and measurable. What do I mean by that? Instead of telling Donna that I want her to be a good team player, I might give her the goal that I want her to spend 10 hours coaching, mentoring David on organizational principles, because he's going to need those when he takes over your job next year. At the end of the year, friendship doesn't play a role in my assessment of that. She either gave 10 hours coaching David or she didn't. And no one can look at it through the spectacles that they use when they see general goals of because Donna is your friend, or because Donna's worked with you for the past 5 years and I'm just a new team member, that the assessments and the judgments and the reviews that you give her are under different standards than they are for me. If you're managing friends, actually it can be a great thing. I believe you can still be a friend and be a manager at the same time. And I know that's contrary to old rules, but if you just dare develop goals and expectations for your team that are specific and measurable, friendship, camaraderie, emotions are taken out of the assessment that you give your teams, and it allows you to maintain those things that you love and still have the effectiveness that you'll need as a leader.